Welcome here. I'm in beautiful Union Mills. Okay. So, I'm going to be calling the game with Lisa Welsh, but analyzing the game here is Maddie from Ohio here to talk about the Hebron South Central game. Maddie, what's your thoughts initially when you're looking at the stats between these two teams?
First thing I think when looking at the stats, I think that it looks a lot closer than it might end up being. Obviously, both teams super talented, super great teams. They've gotten here, great records, great players. The stats, most part, are pretty close. Other than maybe like the on base percentage, that's a little bit of a difference in the slugging percentage. But in terms of batting average and like the top batting average, pretty similar between these two players. Uh, and obviously, a couple of them are tied for stats there. So, the stats pretty even.
Absolutely. And we're going to start with our players to watch here, sponsored by the American Legion here in Union Mills, Indiana. Let's start with Allison Tolzik from Hebron. So, what does Allison bring to the table?
Obviously, her batting average is insane. Batting at .529 is absolutely incredible. She can clearly hit home runs, having 8 and 27 RBIs. So she's clearly a power hitter that's going to be somebody that whoever's pitching against her, you really have to be careful and you really have to know what she doesn't like to hit in that strike zone.
Absolutely. And she's also dangerous on the mound as well, throwing a no hitter the other night. So, if you're South Central's lineup, would you rather see her or Cunningham, who's 10-1 herself? Which pitcher would you rather see play in this first round?
I think if you're South Central, you definitely want anyone else. Sec. I think that she has proven herself on the mound beyond what a normal pitcher does. If you're South Central, I definitely think that if she's on the mound, you are going to have a lot of problems in the batter's box.
Absolutely. And Lisa Cunningham, uh, she's got problems sometimes locating that split ball. She likes throwing it quite a bit when she gets in trouble. So, kind of waiting out Cunningham after she gets in that 0-2 count, I think is beneficial for the satellite hitters if you're going to see Cunningham. So, that's one of the keys. Kind of stay into it and stay kind of engaged as a hitter. And then Tolzik just comes at you fast and kind of ready to go, kind of like what Lexi Johnson's going to do on the other side when she's on. But the sophomore has been on in her 5, 6 appearances so far. But I have a feeling they're going to pitch Cunningham because coming in today, Hebron's coaches think Cunningham is their ace. And the fact is, South Central is playing a lot better than what they did against when they were playing in Union Mills. But I mean, the whole lineup. Let's just go into it again with Molly Fear, because Molly, like Tolzik, is hitting for a good average. She's hitting 2 home runs, 27 batted in. So, like, what do you do with this lineup?
Exactly. It seems like everybody on the Hebron side of things has a extremely high batting average. Again, an average of 400 and or 4 or .414 and 2 home runs, and also again another 27 RBIs, another power hitter, another person who can very well hit a ball over the fence. And even if South Central has runners on base, considering that all these players' batting averages on the Hebron side are extremely high, they can all hit the ball. Although all of them might not be able to hit over the fence, they can get on base. And then if you get one of the players who can hit these big home runs way past over the fence, you're going to be letting in 2, 3, 4 runs at a time. If you can't get the ball and you can't pitch the ball exactly where you want it, or if you pitch it in where they like to hit it, it's going to be a huge problem for South Central.
Absolutely. But let's flip it on the other side with our player of the games with South Central with Tinley Warner just hitting the cover off the ball these last 2 weeks. Uh, so last night they won 20-0. Tinley had 5 for 5. Um, so for our Larry Knowlton player of the game, which we're on the committee with that, Tinley's getting a very much if the Satellites upset Hebron tonight and have more chances this week, and Tinley keeps doing this hot streak that she's on, she's probably in that 1 to 2 slot right now.
100%. Out of anybody, she has the highest batting average of these two teams, the .582, which is unheard of. And as somebody who has covered multiple Satellites games, it seems as if every time she finds a way on base. She's always hitting directly into the spots where it's either the fielders can't get to it or she gets there before they can get it there. She's always finding ways on base. And that her stats prove that. She's 2 home runs and 30 RBIs. 30 RBIs is insane, unheard of. And it goes just to attest that all of her stats are very, very insane. Not a lot of people can do that.
And plus, stepping in at first after being an outfielder first 2 years with the legendary Lauren Bomar, moving on to play Division III, I believe, college softball in North Central, uh, trying to get that big impact on both sides. You could see Tenley Warner kind of growing as the year as a first baseman as well and as an infielder dominantly this year after being an outfielder the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And that's something that people don't really understand unless you play either softball or baseball is that when you stick into your position, when you become something, for example, I was an outfielder. I knew how to play and where to go on every single parts of the outfield. I could play left, I could play center, I could play right. If you put me in the infield, I would be completely lost because that's not something I did. And the fact that she can do that, she can go from the outfield, she can come into the infield, and she knows exactly what to do and which plays goes where, what to do on the bunt. That is, that just attests to what kind of player she is. She's somebody who knows how to play every position on the field. She's somebody who can go up against any pitcher and get on base. She is an amazing player and she just proves it in all these little ways. That's not something that a lot of people would look at and be like, wow, that's something that's not normally something that can be done. But as like somebody who either studies the sports of baseball and softball or somebody who plays the sports of baseball or softball, that's just another thing that somebody does that can gain respect from that community of people and something that a lot of people don't see as being like a super hard thing to do. But it is a very hard thing to do, especially when you start working very hard on one specific position and that's what you've always done. And then you go and do something else. It's a very hard thing to do. And it's not talked about a lot, but it is a very hard thing to do.
Absolutely. But let's go to her teammate here, okay? And Val Horner, okay? The sophomore is starting to get heated up here at the leadoff position here. Hitting a home run last week, getting 11 RBIs in the year, and then being kind of what Allison Tolzik is for Hebron. Val's kind of stepping into that kind of sophomore underclassman kind of leadership role in herself, um, being a shortstop, being a pitcher as well, dominating on the mound in her 6 starts as well. Because South Central has 2 elite pitchers, just like Hebron does with Horner and with Johnson. But what like a horn kind of goes underrated a little bit. So, what impact will Val have during this game?
I think it's I think the these players, like all the players on South Central, if they're going to come out and win this game, all of the people who aren't, they may not have the spotlight on them like Tinley Warner does, but all of these players need to come out and they need to play at the highest level they've ever played. And the thing with Val Horn is that she's proven that she's up there. She's a great player. She's really come out and done all these things that might not have been like expected of her in the beginning of the season. If she comes out and she has a game, the game of her life, she comes out and she's proven she can hit home runs. She did it last week. If she comes out and she starts hitting home runs or she starts hitting huge hits to get on base, some RBIs, South Central has a chance. All of the players on South Central need to come out, and they need to come out swinging for the fences to get these big hits that can help them get up in the count. Because without them, it's going to be a very big uphill battle with the hitters on the other side of the field.
Absolutely. So let's speak at the hypotheticals a little bit here, okay? So let's say Hebron wins, okay? And Morgan Township wins tonight. So we'll be doing the Morgan Township game tomorrow against Boone, okay? But let's say Couts beats Morgan. We'll be doing the baseball game at Valparaiso, okay? And let's say South Central does upset Hebron, okay? We'll be doing the South Central versus Westville or Tri Township game tomorrow. So there's a lot of hypotheticals here, depending on with this tournament, with this softball and this and that, and then the championship game. Most likely will be broadcast by Regional Sports, but if not, we'll be doing it. So, anyway, but coming back into this game here, um, Maddie. So, what are some of the Joni Geisha keys of the game for South Central?
I think in order to win this game, first of all, pitching needs to be near perfect. It needs to not just be, I'm going to throw this pitch because this is what I want to throw. It needs to be educated on every single, the pitcher, whoever is going to be starting, and whoever may go into the game, really need to go back and watch all these games or hear from other people. This batter doesn't like this pitch. Say a batter doesn't like a curveball. Throw them curveballs. These batters have proven that they can hit anything with their averages, and the pitching needs to be perfect, and they need to know exactly which player doesn't like this pitch. This player doesn't like this speed. This player doesn't like when it's higher. All those type of things. If South Central can do that, I think they're golden if they can hit the ball, which brings me into the second one is every single player needs to have the game of their lives. They need to come out there and they need to have confidence. They need to go up and on the plate and they need to swing at the balls that they like, because when they start swinging at the balls they like, there's more of a chance that they can drive that and they can get a great hit and get on base. And I think if both of those things are done, I think South Central has a huge opportunity to upset Hebron.
Absolutely. Now let's go on the Hebron side of things. The Joni Geisha keys of the games. So, what are some keys for Hebron?
I think for Hebron, I think number one, I think confidence. Obviously, they have the better record. They have this huge power hitter lineup. They need to come in with confidence. They need to come in saying, yeah, we know we're this team. We have this record. We have these hitters. That's us. Confidence. Number two, all the batters need to just do what they do. Do great on the plate, hit these big hits, hit them over the fence. And honestly, like if the batters come out and do what they normally do, I think Hebron has got this game.
Absolutely. Now that's going to lead into our pick'em here. So, Maddie, who do you got?
I have Hebron today. I think Hebron is going to win the game 10-4. I will believe it's going to come out and both teams are going to come out really hot. Might be like a 3-4, 4-4 going into like maybe the third, the fourth, and then Hebron's going to come out and do what they do best. They're going to have a big inning. They're going to score 4, 5, maybe 6 runs, and everything's going to go right for them and everything's going to go wrong for South Central. And then South Central is going to try and they might get a couple runners on, but I just think between the pitching and the loss of confidence after a big inning, I think Hebron's going to take it 10-4.
I'll be calling the game with Alyssa Welsh as well, but I'm going to pick. I'm not going to be like a Herm Street or whatever when he's picking. Um, I'm going against my Allen Marn. I think that lineup's just too hard. I think that lineup is going to be just too much for Lexi Johnson to handle. But it's going to be closer than what the experts think. Okay. I think it's going to be 5-7. And a lot like what Maddie has said, I think it's going to be one inning where Hebron just shows out. But I think Satellites come back because the last game they played at Satellite Field was a confidence builder. They were in probably 90% of the game. It was just one bad inning allowed Hebron to kind of pull away a little bit. So I think Satellites have probably the best chance of anybody other than Boone Grove to beat Hebron in this tournament. 7-0. I mean, when you're 7-0 in the regular season in the round robin champions, you're due for a loss. If you're Hebron, you're due. But speaking of that, who do you got in the other games tonight with Boone Grove playing? Let's see here. Who are they playing? Boone Grove playing Washington. Okay. Who do you got in that game?
I'm going to take Boone Grove.
I'm going to take Boone Grove as well.
Yeah.
Just because Washington is having kind of a rebuild year, and Boone Grove has a lead pitcher and Nally Moret, who's going to probably throw a no hitter or pretty close to it tonight. Um, who do you got in the Westville and Tri Township game?
I think I'm gonna go Tri Township on that. I'll take them.
Okay. Not so fast. I'm going Westville. Okay, uh, that's a toss up game there. Vega can when she's on, she's on. Okay, but when she's not on, she can be really bad. Okay, we saw that with South Central when we played them at Westville. Prior, same kind of deal. Um, but I think hitting wise, Westville has a little bit of advantage. I'm going to go Westville by not much. I'm going to go probably Westville by 3-2. Okay, um, but I still like the Tri Township pick there, Maddie.
Toss up.
Can go either way, but Couts Morgan Township.
Ooh, I don't know. Who are you gonna go? Who are you gonna pick on that one?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Couts. Okay, I just think they have really good hitting. Um, But Morgan could easily win this game as well because uh, Coe's Hub, like a lot of PCC pitchers, she's good, but she can be kind of lose her control a little bit here or there. So it's a toss up. It could go either
Yeah.
way. I think Couts is going to win by a little bit, not a lot. That's an arch rivalry as well. But looking at the stats, you could go either way again.
Yeah. Probably. I think I'll take the end of the road. I think I'll go Morgan Township.
Okay. Okay. So, who do you pick in the win at all?
Oof. I think if Hebron gets past this game, which we both said we think they will, I think I'm gonna pick Hebron to go all the way.
Okay. Okay. I'm going Boone Grove. Okay. I just
Yeah.
think Hebron's going to have, if they beat South Central tonight, an easy way to the kind of championship where Boone Grove's going to struggle against either Couts or Morgan Township. Now, one game it's going to be battle tested. It was very close the previous game. It was like 3-1. And I think much like what Lexi Johnson is going to face tonight, Natalie Moretz is probably going to face that same lineup in Hebron. So it's going to be a tough task for either pitcher. And Pryor or Vega for Westville is going to have to face that Hebron lineup the previous, or South Central's, which is an easy lineup itself. But I think whoever wins this will be an easy trip to the championship game at South Central on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd either probably take Hebron or Boone Grove in that to win it all.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna stick with Hebron.
For sure. And that will be this edition of Regan's Corner Sports Network. Go check out the game tonight on Regan's Corner Sports Network, and further information on our websites and everything like that. And we'll be back next week or the week after for our usual broadcast here or podcast here on Regan's Corner.